Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about Valve's second and maybe last shot at conquering the living room. They're promising a device that blends the best of PC and console gaming.
I mean, think about it. What if you could play literally thousands of PC games right on your TV as easily as you fire up a PlayStation? That's the dream, right? And it's exactly what Valve is trying to sell us with the new Steam machine, a super powerful gaming PC somehow crammed into this tiny, sleek box. Now Valve is betting big that you're gonna love it. But here's the thing, there's a pretty big catch. This isn't their first try at this, and from what we're hearing, there's one tiny detail in the hardware specs that could honestly make or break the entire project. Okay, let's get into it.
To really get a handle on what Valve is doing with this new machine, we kind of have to rewind a bit and look at why the first one, well, why it basically failed. Yeah, the first go-around back in 2015, it was a mess, a total mess. It wasn't one machine, it was like 14 different PCs from 14 different companies. Super confusing for everybody. But this time around, it looks like they've really learned their lesson. They're going with a single focused console, designed and sold directly by Valve. Simple.
So what's the grand vision this time? What are they really trying to build? It's actually pretty simple, but also really ambitious. They want to finally create that perfect PC-console hybrid. You know, a box that just works. You plug it in and you play. No messing with drivers, no digging through settings menus, just gaming. And the promise is huge. Your entire Steam library, all those thousands of games, right there on your TV. It's supposed to be as easy to use as a PlayStation or an Xbox. And they're not messing around with performance either. They are aiming high, targeting 4K resolution at 60 frames per second.
So who is this thing actually for? Well, analysts think it's a slam dunk for the millions of people who already love Steam and have big game libraries. But can it actually pull people away from their consoles? That's the real test, isn't it? That's the billion-dollar question.
All right, so to hit that big 4K promise, you need some serious horsepower. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting and maybe a little tricky for Valve. Let's talk about the hardware. You look at the spec sheet and it seems pretty decent, right? It's got a modern AMD CPU and a pretty beefy GPU. The folks over at Digital Foundry put its raw power somewhere in the neighborhood of an Xbox Series S and a PS5. So far, so good.
But there is one number on that list that has a lot of people worried. And when I say a lot of people, I mean hardware experts and basically anyone who's tried to play a new AAA game on a PC recently. It's that 8 GB of video memory, the VRAM. And in today's world, that's not just a small concern. For some, it's a huge red flag.
And here's why that matters. Valve is promising this amazing 4K experience, but 8 gigs of VRAM is a known bottleneck. For the biggest, most demanding new games, it often means you have to turn down the texture quality, or just forget about fancy features like ray tracing altogether, even at lower resolutions.
So, did Valve just make a mistake? Nope, this was a choice. Their engineers have basically said, look, we did this to keep the price down. It was a deliberate trade-off. They sacrificed a bit of graphical power to hit a certain price. And that one decision, well, it changes everything. Okay, so the guts of the machine have a big question mark hanging over them. But the controller that comes with it, oh man, the controller looks absolutely fantastic. It's a whole different story.
This thing is a massive upgrade from the old one. It takes the super popular layout from the Steam Deck and just makes it better. You've still got the dual trackpads for that mouse-like feel, but now there's this really cool new grip sense feature. You just squeeze the controller a little and boom, gyro aiming is active. That is super smart.
But the absolute best part, the star of the show, is the joystick tech. They're using something called TMR sensors. Now, in plain English, what does that mean for you? It means no more stick drift. You know, that awful thing where your character starts moving all on their own? Yeah, this is designed to fix that, for good. And that alone is a huge deal.
So, let's recap. We have an amazing vision for gaming on the couch, we have a fantastic controller, and we have a big what if about the internal hardware. So where do we land? What does this all add up to? You know, after you boil it all down and listen to all the experts, it seems like this entire massive project really just comes down to one single unknown number.
And that number is the price. Price is everything here. If this machine costs, say, $399, it's a game changer. It's a genuine console competitor. That 8 GB of VRAM, you can forgive it at that price. But if it's over $500, well,
Now it's in a really tough spot, going head-to-head with the PS5, and that VRAM issue starts to look a whole lot bigger.
We don't know the price yet. Valve is keeping that secret locked up tight. But that number, whatever it ends up being, is going to decide if this thing is a massive success or another footnote in gaming history.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Can a brilliant idea, a massive library of games, and some really clever software make up for a hardware weak spot? Or is that compromise just too big to overcome? We're going to find out in